What's up, y'all? Welcome to our very first episode. We appreciate you tuning in. This is the Dumbest in the Room podcast. My name is Raven, aka You Feel Me, and alongside me is my co-host, one of my best friends. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit why we're doing this, how we know each other and all that good stuff.
My name is Aaron. Like he said, it's one of my very good friends. We go back from, obviously now to what, middle school?
Eighth grade, yep.
Grade. So when we was like 11, 12. But yeah, and kind of why we're doing this, keep it like
how did it get started?
Working at my job, I was kind of like, I work at Amazon, just so you guys kind of, I don't know if anybody who's listening to this works at Amazon, but if you feel like, if you do, you kind of understand what I'm saying.
He hates it.
Yeah. So I was just kind of sitting there one day, nothing really to do, kind of doing the same repetitive stuff for 10, 11 hours, however long the shift is that day. And I just kind of, needed something to keep my interest or keep my attention so I'm not falling asleep. So I started listening to podcasts, a lot of different ones, but like one that really caught my eye was Arian Foster's. It's called the Now What podcast, and he just has a lot of different kind of people on, so politicians, former athletes, scientists, really any profession you can kind of think of. He's talking to them, picking their brains and stuff like that, finding out what they think and why they think the way they think.
Great podcast. Shout out Bobby Fino.
Yeah,
so
we
hope to have him on one day.
That's the one person I for sure need to have on. Or we for sure need to have on.
Facts.
But anyways, I just thought it was a brilliant thing and kind of like a brilliant way to learn, because I actually do enjoy learning. Like, I'm not super big on like sitting in a classroom all day listening to a teacher, 4 + 4 is 8 or whatever the case may be. But I think it was really interesting, kind of like the questions and how he ran his podcast. So I kind of just came up with the idea, because it's like with everything that's going on today in society, like all the social injustice and things that are going on, like the election, whatever the case may be, I think it's important that people start having conversations that they're pretty reluctant to have. And kind of question why they think the way they think. Like, instead of thinking a certain way, understand why you think like that and how you came to that conclusion, because I don't think too many people do that. I think they're kind of just, I was raised like this is what I think, I'm not going to do my own research, this is just what it is. And I think if that's kind of what it is, like if that's people's mindset, I think it can be pretty dangerous in a way, because you're not really willing to change. You're not really opening up to listen to anybody else and see their points of views and things like that, or be empathetic to other people's issues.
Yeah, so. I think that shout out Bobby Fino. His podcast is dope. That's kind of something that we're going for. Obviously our own spin on it. You feel me, Raven and Aaron? You feel me? We're gonna have our take on it. Y'all gonna get to know us. But yeah, like Aaron said, like we kind of want to just get that conversation going. We want people to start talking about these real issues that are going on. Even if it's uncomfortable. If I believe this, you believe this, that's cool. We want to talk to you. So even if we want to have people on that disagree with us, just as much as we want to have people on that we agree with or whatnot, we want to have that conversation. We want to learn. So even like the Dumbest in the Room podcast, that kind of plays off of that quote. If you're the smartest in the room, you're in the wrong room. So like we're kind of coming at it as we just want to learn. Right. We want to learn why you think this way. Right. And maybe you can change our minds. Maybe we can change yours. Sure. So we're just trying to talk about that, just the stuff that's really going on, the stuff that really matters. Yeah. And as well as, like Aaron said, just a lot of people get placed in a box nowadays, right?
Right. Yeah. So kind of depending on what you do, like the whole LeBron thing when she was like, shut up and dribble. There's way more to LeBron than dribbling in basketball. So
right. And you're an athlete.
Yeah. So kind of just there's more to people than, I guess, their profession. Like, people have thoughts and opinions, and a lot of them have good thoughts and opinions, but a lot of people kind of shrug them off if their profession is being an athlete or a musician, whatever. So that's pretty much why, like, how the idea came to me. I appreciate you for like accepting it, because I honestly didn't really know.
Oh, you already know?
Yeah, I honestly didn't really know. You were kind of iffy about it, like, at first. So
yeah, I was for sure iffy about it, but the way you the way you explained it to me, bro, like you just so passionate about it. Because I don't, you know me, I don't like public speaking that much and whatnot. Once I get comfortable, I'm for sure gonna be,
Right.
talking and all that. But yeah, I just wasn't too sure about it. But the way you came at me with it, you were so passionate about wanting to like change what's going on right now and change the way people think. I just, you my brother, I was like, yeah, I got to rock with him. Like, I just want to get behind that because that's what I want to do too. I always tell people like, I never knew what I want to do, but I want to help people. I want to help the world. I want to help animals or whatnot.
Right.
But yeah, so that's kind of why we're doing this. And then another thing is, me and you, like we're both from the Bay. Shout out to Bay Area. You feel me? So we're big on the culture. We're big on all that.
Yeah.
So as much as we want to talk about real shit that's going on, we also just want to talk about the culture.
Yeah.
We're here for the people.
Yeah. I think both are extremely important. The culture or whatever's going on with politics and things like that, the pretty much people who are running the country, things like that. But I think they're both very important, somewhat go hand in hand. So
yeah,
definitely want to get to all of that. Like, it's not strictly going to be your
political ass
like what's
podcast.
You see what Donald Trump did today, or you see what
you can expect anything from us.
Anything, whether it's LeBron James dropping 200 points from the Baby's new album, it can be anything.
Right.
But yeah, no, that kind of brings me into today though, because I mean, like we said, like since it's not strictly going to be political and things like that, today is that's pretty much like why we started it though, because we want people to have that conversation.
Yes, I think that's one of our.
It's kind of like the base.
Our big, our message, our mission. Like we do want to make change, although we understand that that's difficult and even, some would say impossible.
Right.
But hey, man, if we can have one person that listens to us every week,
right.
It's
that's a success for sure.
Yeah, then we did our job.
Right.
So, anyways, you want to get right into it? What we're going to be talking about tonight?
Yeah. So, kind of bring us into today. Kind of the base question that pretty much like when we had that phone call, kind of discussing everything. Something that came up was just racism, like the topic of racism.
Yeah.
So the question for today that me and you were going to talk about, and we definitely have a subtopic that we actually don't agree on, surprisingly.
Yes,
I mean, we don't agree on a lot.
I'm excited to talk about that.
Yeah, nah, for sure. But so the question is racism still a thing?
Does racism exist? Has it ever existed? And yes, does it exist? You want to start? You want me to start?
No, it's all yours, man. I've been talking way too much anyway.
I would say, it might sound like a simple question. Does racism exist? A lot of people would be like, well, duh. But you'd be surprised, right? Me and you live in Brentwood. We live in Brentwood, California, the Bay Area, Brentwood. And it's not the most progressive city. And you have a lot of people. I don't want to be political with it, but you have a lot of people that are more conservative and more, whatnot.
Yeah.
So
some super far right people.
Yeah. So we see it, or I see it myself.
Right.
I'm white. I'm a white male. I still see it, especially with and then you look at what's been going on forever. But this past year, 2020, George Floyd. You see all these Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor. Like you see all these things that are happening. Like, does racism exist? Yes, it's in full effect. Right. That's what I would say.
Right. Yeah. Me and you've had this discussion a little bit, not like too much, but I kind of believe there's two kind of forms. There's either like overt racism, so like you just that guy who's saying all kind of outlandish stuff, and systemic or systematic, however you want to say it. That's the one you don't really see too much. That's kind of because I think a lot of people will say if you're walking down the street and you just heard somebody call me the N-word, they'll probably say, yeah, bro, that's not cool. That's racist. But when you talk to a lot of people about, okay, like, we're not going to get too much into it, but, like, I always bring up, like, redlining to you. If you bring up that to somebody, they're going to say, no, that's just how it is. Like, that affects all people. That affects black people, white people, Mexican people, Asian people. But if you really understand what redlining is, it really.
No, I hear you. So I think to add what you're saying is the overt racism that he's talking about when you hear somebody call somebody an N-word or a racial slur, whatever, we can see that. We can hear it. Hey, that's racist. Right. But the systemic part of it is that I think that's even more important because that's like historic. That's like historically that's been a thing historically. I could be racist to anybody right now, but when you have a system in place that enforces that racism,
that oppresses a certain race,
that's extremely dangerous. And then that's where you get this white privilege, or that's why you get the superiority complex of these races because it's backed by actual, it's backed by the power, the government, or whatever, which you will. Right. So another episode we'll probably talk about systemic racism in itself because that's huge.
Yeah, that's gonna be a whole like episode in itself. Like obviously we're gonna touch on racism a lot more. But the whole redlining thing and different things that have to do with the system and things like that, that's definitely going to be like a different kind of episode. But that's just one like thing systematically. Like that's
I think you can use systemic racism to prove that racism exists, if that makes sense, because you can see that like there's been certain races that have gained from these what did you say to me the other day about the Jim Crow laws and whatnot? Like some of that stuff is still in. They changed it, but some of it's still in place. Yeah, and it's just and I think like affirmative action that they had to do that.
You know what's crazy about affirmative? Like you're my guy for sure, but like people be saying like, you see, like we're being discriminated against because of affirmative action. And it's like, dog, that's so weird to me.
Wait, what was that? What did you say?
Like when you hear people say, well, affirmative action discriminates against white people.
Oh, yeah, I hate that. Sorry, I was taking a sip of my water, so that's why I had you repeat that. But I couldn't agree more. I think that's it's very silly to use affirmative action as well, affirmative action, it's now you're being racist to me. It's like what they're doing in a sense is all they're doing is leveling
the playing field.
Right.
But
leveling the playing field.
I think in today's society, it's so much more of like I have to see it to believe it type thing, and that's weird to me because it's like a lot of people, like, because I'm a Christian, but a lot of people think they've never seen like God, they've never seen or like actually, I don't want to say had a like conversation, but they believe that.
But, they just have their faith.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying, like. It's such a I don't see it. It doesn't affect me, so it's not happening. Like,
that's a good point, bro. That's actually a really good point. These people that are you have religious people that, well, I can't see God, but I know He's there. Right. Well, bro, you can't see racism, but why are you telling me that it's not there? Because it is there
like, in the system. Like, you can't see it, but like if you look at facts and you see how many people are being oppressed or police violence.
Okay, good. That's a good thing. That's a good thing you brought that up because one thing, like we can say, oh, well, George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery and Breonna Taylor and all these people, right, and many more. I would love to name all of them because I think that they really do need a voice, and it's just whatever. This is why we're doing this, right? But you said police violence. Yeah, we can talk about things that happen, but what about like to make it more personal? Like, have you ever experienced those things?
Like violence, like getting beat up, no, but I've had like,
or just racism in general. Like I know you're an athlete, you went to school, so touch on that. Like I want people to hear actually your experiences because I'm white, right? I've seen it. Have I experienced it?
I don't know if it's really so much racist. I mean, I went to school in Reading though, so Reading is like it's damn near like another Brentwood. Yeah, I think it's worse actually.
Hey, the more
our coach, bro, like our coach used to tell us, like he was like, if you go into the store, like don't go by yourself, like bring somebody, because like shit will happen to you. And that's facts though, like that's crazy,
disgusting.
But I wouldn't say so much racism, but you remember when the Kaepernick was going on?
Yeah. You talking about like him kneeling?
Yeah, I don't even know I don't know, but yeah, so that was happening like during our season, and obviously when it's happening, like we had like what. Maybe 4 or 5 black players. So, like, obviously, me kind of, like, know what's going on. Like, you see, this isn't right. Like, I rock with Kaepernick. Like, he's like taking a stand for us.
Yes.
Essentially. I mean, he's kneeling, but he's taking a stand for us.
Yeah, we understood why he did that.
Right. So me and like like my teammates who were minorities are like, yeah. So like my homie Justin, like he was trying to do it.
Shout out Justin.
Coop, B, just everybody. So like, yeah, like we want to kneel or whatever. And our coach came in after practice and he was like, I understand where you guys are coming from, or like I understand why you guys want to do it, but like this isn't like the place to do it. And then
What? Okay.
and, yeah, and it was just like, what are you talking about? He was just like in Reading or whatever, bro. Like, cause like I said, like Reading's like a super far like right. There's like a super far right people, like crazy.
Damn.
So it was like, yeah, if you like kneel, like you're just not gonna be like safe or whatever. Like people see that and they will really take that like as super disrespect, and they'll really.
Damn. So
Yeah.
what? That only happened one time then? You guys just kneeled that one time and then your
No,
coach?
we didn't kneel at all.
Oh, you guys were thinking about doing it.
Yeah, we were thinking about doing it, but we just didn't do it because it's like he
Yeah,
wasn't lying. Like there's been stuff that's happened like people will really do something.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. I thought you were gonna say how he said like this isn't the place for it, like sports isn't the place for it. And I think
Nah. My coach is like,
he was just looking out.
yeah, I didn't really rock with my coach like that, but he's not an idiot. Like he understood what was going on.
For sure. Do you want to tell him the story about how you got pulled over? Or I mean, you could tell that whenever, but I think that's another good one.
So I'll make it quick. But I was like 16, 17, coming home from work one day. I was speeding, so I was going like maybe 85, 90, and like a 60 something. I was trying to get home.
You were smashing.
Yeah, I was
like we all do though.
Yeah, I was pushing.
Everybody does this.
So he pulled me over. Like I saw him at the last minute. I was like, ah, damn, he got me. So he pulled me over. I expected it, and I was like in a super like beat up car at the time, 96 Civic. So like nothing in it worked. Like windows didn't work. Only thing that really worked was like the sunroof. So he got to my door and he was like, roll down the window, and I was just telling him like, yo, my door doesn't work. I can't roll it down. I can open the door. I can like open the sunroof so you can like hear me better. And I was like, what do you want me to do? He was like, just get out the car, like just open the door. And I asked him like 3 or 4 more times just to make sure, because you don't want to just open a car door in a cop. Like I get it. Like if that happened to me, I'll be tripping.
Yeah.
So he was like, yeah, it's good. Just open the door. So I opened the door, and I don't know if I did it too fast or whatever, but he like pulled his gun out, like pointed at me. He was like, what are you doing? And I was like, bro, like what are you talking about? You just told me to open the door so we can like communicate, so you can talk to me, tell me what I was doing, all that. He was like, nah, just close the door. So I closed the door. I opened the sunroof to try to talk to him a little more. But eventually he told me to just get out the car. And when I got out the car, when I opened the door like fully, he was like, have you been drinking? Like it smells like alcohol. Keep in mind, like I was at work from like 9 to 6. So obviously wasn't drinking. And I was like 16.
It didn't smell like alcohol.
Yeah, nah. I didn't touch alcohol in my life like until I was 21.
Yeah, you don't even be like you always tell me like I know you went to
I'm not like, I was an athlete, so I don't smoke.
Yeah, like you said, you've never
Drink.
like to this day you've never even smoked, right?
Nah.
Yeah,
But
I know you be drinking and stuff like.
yeah, occasionally.
Yeah.
But yeah. So he told me to get out the car. Said it smells like alcohol. And then he was like, all right, just wait here. Went to his car. Got on the phone like what I saw. Then a couple more of his homies came. And then that was it. He wrote me a ticket.
Damn.
I don't think I didn't tell none of my parents don't know that, nothing.
Your parents don't even know that?
Nah, I wasn't.
I mean,
if
I
I get
feel
home,
it.
tell my mom that. What?
Yeah. No, I feel it. See, that's crazy though. Like, see, my thing is like looking at that story, right? Yes, granted, you were speeding. I get it. But you just told me that you said he told you to open the door.
Yeah.
You opened the door. He pulls his gun on you. Like, listen to that. The cop told him to open the door. So he opens the door and then he gets a gun pulled on him. What do you expect him to do? That doesn't make any sense to me. So with that in mind, that's one thing that gets me upset. Like when I hear these things, it's like, what do you want these, like, what do you want? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how did you, like, I've never even, cause you've told me this story before, but you haven't actually like told me like the details of it, right?
I feel?
How did you feel, bro? You had a gun pointed at your face.
I mean, I was like I said, I was like 16, 17. So I was like, I was kind of in shock first. I was like, what, bro?
Yeah.
But then like when I kind of really realized like, yo, like
that could have happened.
Yeah, I was just tripping, bro. Like I was like when he left, actually, like when he gave me my ticket and like they all left, I stayed there for like 30 minutes. I was just
Shook.
tripping. Yeah, I was like shook. I was like, bro.
Damn, bro.
Yeah.
I'm sure, and see, that's the thing. Like, I'm sure that there's a lot of people out there that I know there is, that have been through the same thing. Like, I have a good amount of homies that have told me stories like that. Like, one of my boys at work, he literally just told me a story like the other day about like some shit like that happened to him. I'm not gonna go into it or whatever because I'm just not gonna say his name and stuff. I don't know if he want his business out there like that. But yeah, he basically told me the same shit, bro. Like, they were just being extremely extra with it.
Yeah, this is just like, it's crazy to me because it's like that's somebody's life. Like that's not just like, and I like my thing is like I get it to a certain, not like pulling a gun on somebody for that reason. I understand like why sometimes cops would be like, because like you never know. Like sometimes cops really walk up to windows and dudes just air them out. Like I get it,
sure.
But my thing is like,
he asked you though.
Yeah, and it's just
I don't know, man.
My
I just think
like,
that's, I don't know.
With like pressure situations, you got to be trained for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no way you're just giving somebody a gun and be like, yo, if they speed, then do this. Like, nah, you got to be trained for certain situations. You got to like, so it just seems like there's a lack of training.
I agree. I think, and I think, hey, and people to just a side note, Aaron has a degree in political science. Like, didn't you tell me you used to want to go into law enforcement? Like, we're not over here saying like, we're not trying to get that message across of like, hey, like cops are this. But I think that's an interesting.
After that, not even after that, but just like after everything was going on, like, nah, that's not. Because I mean, it's just like, not that I'm like going against like my people, but it's just like
you couldn't. It's just
not something I can. Because like at the end of the day, like if I did that, I'm still black. So if I take off the uniform and then I'm driving down the street or whatever, I can still like I'm still like susceptible to that. So it doesn't matter if I'm a cop, because there's been a lot of times like you watch videos where police pull over like minorities that are like attorneys or like high positions, and they tell them what they are, like, yo, like what are you doing? Like, I'm the attorney for whatever, and they be like, oh, my bad.
Right.
So you gonna tell me like,
I think we need to have somebody on the podcast. Like, I would love to have somebody on that's law enforcement, because I think a lot of people in law enforcement do go through that. Yeah. But anyways, I was just bringing up that point because we're not over here saying fuck 12. We're not over here saying fuck the cops.
No.
But
you got a lot of like respect for like what they do. They put their lives on the line.
Right. Yeah, no, shout out, like, you know, that's one of the most
noble. I would say noble professions.
Right. Sure. But it's just, to me, when you hear something like that, it's just crazy. Yeah. So that's kind of just segues. It kind of segues into something else that we were going to bring up, right? But does racism exist? Yeah. Yes, I would say it does. Yeah. Anybody that disagrees, says that it doesn't, we would love to have a conversation with you. And to be honest, we want to see where you're coming from with that.
Yeah, I want to see why you came to that conclusion.
So feel free. We're gonna, you can reach out to us on our Instagram, Dumbest in the Room Pod. Just look it up on IG. We'll be there.
Twitter coming soon too.
Twitter coming soon. We're gonna be having polls. We're gonna be having this and all types of stuff where we're gonna be interacting with you guys. If you ever want to get on the episode, just DM us. Like we said, we want to talk to Snoop Dogg, but we also want to talk to John Doe.
Yeah, bro, that works next to me on Amazon.
Right, you feel me? Like we want to talk to everybody, but so you've experienced racism firsthand.
Yeah.
Segueing into our next topic, why don't you tell them? Because
I think this is you.
Okay,
I think this is you.
So you brought this up. This was the part 2 of what we're talking about tonight. Does racism exist? Yes. You just heard Aaron tell you he's experienced these things. I've told you that I've seen these things. Like we live in the Bay, like one of the most diverse parts of the nation, and you see it all the time. You see good things, but you see it all the time. Like I said, in Brentwood, California too. But with that being said, me being a white man, have I experienced racism? That's the question we're asking. We're asking, can white people be subjected to racism? Correct? That was the question that you came to me with. Yeah. You said, can you be racist towards a white person, basically? Yeah. So, me personally, I say hell no. Right. You cannot be racist towards a white person. A white person has never, and will never be subjected to racism. That's my take on it. I feel strongly about it.
I hope so.
Aaron has a different viewpoint.
Right. So before I start saying anything, I don't want people to be like, Like, I'm fully aware that, like, white people do not experience what minorities experience. That's not what I'm saying. But what I say is, or my take is, if you're looking at if we're strictly going off the definition, because I don't really think it happens like that. So, like, just keep that in mind. I don't think people are out there just doing or saying shit to white people or to try to oppress them. Like, you're not oppressed. But if we're just going off the definition.
Yeah, why don't you tell them the definition of racism?
So the definition, racism, is a noun, by the way. Prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism directed against a person or people on the basis of their membership in a particular racial or ethnic group, typically one that is minority or marginalized. So like I was saying, I'm not trying to say that they experience what minorities experience. Because if you say that at all, you're just tripping, in my opinion. Like, there's no way you can believe that. But what I'm saying is, it doesn't specify, like, who can be racist and who cannot be racist from that definition. I'm just going off the definition.
Okay.
It doesn't specify. It doesn't say black people can't be racist to whites.
Let's look at it. It says, because you're right, it says directed against a person or people on the basis of their membership in a particular racial or ethnic group. It doesn't say
correct
black people, Mexican people, Asian people, Indian people. It doesn't say that.
And then after that, it says typically minorities, which is absolutely
okay.
So I'm strictly going off the definition of racism.
So in response to that, I could tell you what I think, and then I could also present a question to you because maybe I'll do that first. With does racism exist? You just told us your experiences, right? Yeah. Can you give me an example of when a white person has been subjected to racism? If you can't, that's fine. We can circle back and I can explain why I think the way I think. I
mean, I've never seen it. Like, I've never seen it firsthand. Like, damn, bro, like what? Like, I've never seen it. But like, if I'm saying, if you're going off the definition of racism,
you're saying it can happen.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. All I'm saying, it is possible. Because
it's not the same. It doesn't happen at the same clip, the same rate.
Absolutely.
You're saying it can happen.
If it happens to, out of 100 times, if it happens 99.9 times to minorities, then that 0.1, probably not even that. Yeah, then just say that 0.1 could be white people. Probably not, but it could be. I'm just saying it's possible.
Well, I would love for you to find something that has happened in society where you look at it and you're like, damn, they just they were being racist towards that white dude.
All I'm saying is, so
I don't think you can find that, Aaron.
Right? No, I understand. So I don't really know the derogatory terms towards white people. Like,
cracker.
Okay, I just didn't want to say
it. Cracker. I've been called this.
Right. So I'm saying, like, that's like a term that's meant to.
Yes.
Right. So
what do you call a white person on fire?
I don't know, Raven.
A firecracker.
I don't like that. I don't like that's. I feel like you wanted to say that for a while.
I mean, I don't know. It's just something I've heard. I'm white, so I mean, I laugh. I think it's funny. But yeah, no, continue.
So my thing is, like, so you believe discrimination is like racist, correct? Like, if you discriminate against somebody.
No. If you're asking me, do I believe discrimination is racist?
If you're discriminating strictly because of their color or race.
Yeah. Wait, so you're asking me if it does discrimination, if you're discriminating someone just on their color.
Say there's a group of minorities, correct?
Correct.
They're hooping, having a great time.
Yeah. Like me and you be doing.
Right.
Right. I'm not a minority though, but
right.
Yeah.
That's right. So they're hooping, having a great time.
Sure.
And then white bro comes. Mm-hmm. And then he's like, hey guys, can I play too? Like, I get down with hoop.
Yeah.
And they're like, nah, bro. And he's like, why? He said, you're white, bro. That's racist.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that's racist.
What is that to you? That's discriminating because he's white.
I would say they are practicing racial prejudice.
Okay. Wow.
I would say that's what I would say because you got to speak, right? Let me do mine because you got to speak and then you got to answer my question. I kind of set you up.
Didn't.
Well, I set you up well, I didn't, but I said I presented the question to you and saying like, hey,
for sure.
Whatever. So my thing is with that. That's a good example, and it sounds racist. It for sure does, But here's the kicker, right? So I'll tell you why I think that no, white people cannot be subjected to racism, never have been, and most likely never will. I agree with you, and I would hope everybody does, that racial bias and racial prejudice definitely exists. We see that all the time. All the time. Where you're just like, somebody might be like, I don't want to, hey, that white kid that wants to play basketball, they're like, I don't want him to play. I don't want him on my team because he probably sucks because he's white. They're just being prejudiced, right? They're just assuming something off of his color.
Can I say something to that?
Sure.
The word prejudice is in the definition of racism and racist.
That's fine.
So I'm confused. You're using the word prejudice. You're saying it's like you're just being prejudiced, but that's not racist. But literally, prejudice is in the definition that you read to me.
That's fine. There's a lot of words that are in other definitions. That
so
doesn't mean that they go hand in hand. Yes, there's a thing to it, but like I don't think that necessarily means that you just won the argument with that.
No, I'm not saying I
like
did.
You know what would be a stronger point that you would have is if racism was in the definition of prejudice. I feel like that would be like, oh well, I don't know the definition. I think that would be a much stronger point because if then they do go hand in hand, right? But okay, so I know we have a lot to say on this. So this is me, right? I think we both can agree that racial bias, racial prejudice exists. People do judge people off just their skin color, right? So here's where my point comes in. In my opinion, racism, like literally racism, only happens when there's so yeah. Oh yeah, no, you just press that button if you want to. Aaron was getting a drink of water. Okay, so in my opinion, racism only happens when there's power involved, like specifically systemic power. So when that prejudice that we talk about, like, oh, assuming this person or whatever, just judging this person just off of their skin color, when that's backed with power, that's, I think, when you get the actual discrimination of these certain groups, and we see that in, decades and decades of history, and that literally leads to that systemic power and that systemic racism where when the power is there, like that's when things can really happen. If I'm just over here like, no, you can't play basketball. So that example you said, right? The white dude who they just said, nah, you can't play with us because you're white. How does that affect him whatsoever? That doesn't affect him whatsoever. Those black people, they're not benefiting from doing that at all.
Obviously, it's not in the same. Obviously, it's not the same magnitude that minorities are being discriminated against or whatever you want to say. All I'm saying is it is possible. You're saying there has to be power behind it. Yes.
Yes. So that's why I think that it can't happen.
So it has to be a bigger group of people, right?
No, because it could be just me, right? Like if I'm racist towards you, I can benefit from that. If you and I have white privilege. So
how are they not benefiting from saying you can't play? They think bruh sucks because he's white. So if he doesn't play in their head, he sucks because he's white. I don't want somebody who's weak on my team. We're benefiting from that.
When I say benefit, I don't mean benefit as in, hey, we're going to lose this game. I mean, when the white dude goes home and applies to a job, and then the black dude goes home and applies to a job, the white dude is the one that's still going to benefit from racism.
Right. No, I get that. And like I said, the magnitude is clearly different. I am totally on board with that for sure.
Okay.
What I'm saying is if you tell somebody you can't do this with us or you're not allowed to do this because of your skin color, or we don't want you here because your skin color, that is racist.
Yeah, no, I disagree. I think that is extremely fucked up. But when you're going to use the term racism, I just think that I think that it's where we disagree is that me to racism is and I'm not saying it's not for you, but I just think that it just means something else. It's so much bigger. I agree with you, bro. That's extremely messed up that if that in that situation, they're like, nah, bro, you can't play with us because you white. They're being extremely racially biased, if you want to say that. But racist, I wouldn't say they're just being racist because they're not benefiting from that. I'm just maybe.
So if somebody told me if I was trying to play with a group of white dudes and they're like, nah, bro, we don't want you because you're an N.
Yeah, I mean that's
What is that? Is that racist or is that racially biased?
I would say it's racist just based off of how racism works.
Raven, I gave you the same scenario but flipped. So why is one of them racist and the other one isn't?
Because historically, white people have, like, black people have been historically discriminated against.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? Like, as a franchise, like, white people, we have benefited. Like, we have, like,
I like how you said franchise.
as a franchise, like, 'cause, like, we have benefited. Like, I'm a white person, right? Like, I have white privilege. I understand this. Like, so yes, even though it's the exact same thing, they're completely different. Because my thing is, it doesn't, the whole basketball example, basketball doesn't matter. It's the actual things that are happening outside of basketball.
I get that for sure, but like,
I see what you're saying though. I think
it's the same, like, and I understand. So you're essentially saying because essentially white people were the ones that were the oppressors for years and years.
Right.
It can't apply to them.
Yeah, I think that white people have never been oppressed.
Right, and 100% on your side. I agree. All I'm saying is that situation that I brought up, if you just say, because you said, like, if I was going to a group of white people trying to play basketball, football, whatever the case may be, and they said, we don't want you here because you're black. You said that's racist, yes?
I see what you're doing. I mean, I would have to say yes, it is.
Okay, but then I gave you the same scenario when it was a white dude coming up to a group of black dudes, and we said, nah, bro, we don't want you here because you're white. You could be Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, KD mixed, but you're white. Just get out of here.
Yeah, no, I think you have a good point. But I'm still standing on what I'm saying, because I think where we are different is just like not how we view racism, but to me it's just like there's just way more to it. Like, yeah, like that's extremely messed up. In both cases of the basketball example, it's messed up equally on both levels, because to me, like, it's the same. It is the same, right? But when you go home and go to the real world, like that, right. Like I don't think that, yeah, like it's
we're on the same side with that though. Like I get that.
Yeah.
I 100% agree with that. Like
I think that when you say, okay, so tell me this then in a response to your example, right? If black dude walks up to a bunch of white dudes and then the white dudes are like, nah, you can't play because you're an N, and they say the N word, right? And then in the other example where the white dude walks up and the black dudes are like, nah, you can't play because you a cracker, right? I think that in the example of the black dude getting called an N-word holds extremely more weight,
absolutely,
than the other one. And I think that that's the thing. I understand what you're going to say. You're going to say, well, it's still happening. So that means that means they can still be subjected to it. Yeah. But like I said, with the whole power thing, there's no power. There's no power behind that. If you call me a cracker, or if you say this to me, I'm like, damn, that hurt my feelings. But it doesn't affect right, no, it doesn't affect me financially. It doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect anything. Yeah. So that's where I think we disagree, and I think that we also agree on most of it.
Yeah.
But
I'm just, because like I said at the beginning of this whole little debate, I'm just going off of the definition. Like, I don't think it happens like that at all. Like when people say white people are being oppressed now, that's some of the dumbest shit I've ever heard. But all I'm saying is it's possible, because
show me. That's the only thing I would say. Just show me.
Yeah. And like I said,
I need to see an example of
right,
it.
And I honestly cannot really give. I'm just saying it's possible.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you, but when I hear when I hear people say, like, oh, you're being like reverse racism. That's what we're talking about, right?
Yeah,
reverse racism, and that's what we're talking about. It's just so stupid to me. Like, being racist towards a white person.
Right. It's definitely not common or really a thing like that.
Yeah, no, I just can't get down. I just can't get down. I just can't get down with that, saying that you can be racist towards a white person, because
a lot of people can't.
Because how are you, like, I just don't see, like, what's, like, oh, you're being racist towards me. Like,
we definitely got to make a poll though. Because I mean,
oh yeah, we want,
like I said, like, I don't think it's like something that really happens like that. If you're trying to, like, if you want to argue with me, like, yeah, it happens a lot. Like, no, it doesn't. It doesn't.
That's why I was definitely interested when you told me that.
No.
When you came to me and said, yeah, it does happen, because I'm like, if you're basing your response or your answer, which I still think you're wrong, but if you're basing your answer off of just the definition,
that's all I was going off of. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine, right? But to me, it's like that's weird that you would even take it to that extent. Where it's like, why would you, like, to me, it's like, first of all, like I said, I still think you're wrong. But if you're just basing it off of that, like, okay, by definition,
right? No, like
why would you even rock with that in the first place? Like,
and that's why I've been saying, like, I don't think it happens like that, because, like, yeah, like, if you go by the definition, if you strictly go by the definition, it is possible. Can you agree with that? If you strictly go with the definition. Not with all the other stuff, if just the definition.
So let's bring it up. Racism. Prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism directed against a person or people on the basis of their membership in a particular racial or ethnic group. Like I said, typically one that is a minority or marginalized. It happens,
yes. But like the other part says, if you discriminate against somebody strictly because they're like associate or from a particular
on the
group,
basis of their membership.
Yes.
What does that mean? On the basis of their membership in a particular racial or ethnic group.
If you're white, or if you're black, or if you're Mexican, like your ethnicity.
Yeah, I just don't think you can be racist towards a white person.
Yeah, no, like,
I mean, you have some good points. So like, I'll give you that. Like, I will credit the whole, like, okay, the basketball thing, that's good. But then my thing is, like, because I have my own experiences, right? And I feel like I've just experienced the white privilege to the point where I'm just like, yeah, no, like, it's just
right.
Like, I've gotten pulled, like I told you this.
Yeah, I was like, whoa.
Right. So you said you got pulled over and that happened, right?
Yeah.
All that stuff happened. Told you to open the door. You open the door. You get a gun pulled on you.
Yeah.
And then you're what, 16 or 17, and he asks you, it smells like alcohol in here. You can't even legally drink. It doesn't. There's no alcohol in there. Me on the other hand, I've gotten a DUI before. This was in 2018. I got a DUI. I'm a dumbass. You know, it happened. Whatever. I told Aaron it's a good thing that it happened, because if it didn't, I'd probably still be doing it. You know, I was doing it. I was doing it too much. So anyways, one night though, I don't know if it was the night I got the DUI or if it was a different night, but I get pulled over, and my boys are in the car with me. You can ask. I get pulled over, and like I had been drinking that night. So the cop pulls us over, and then rolls down. I roll down the window. How you doing, officer? Or whatever. He's like, have you been drinking tonight? I look at him and I'm like, yeah. Because like, as the older I've gotten, I've realized when I'm messing with cops, I just be telling the truth. Because I've been through way too many things as a youngin' when I was 16, 15, smoking weed, trying to do all this stuff with cops and trying to lie. Like, I just realized that, hey, just be straight up with the cop, unless you really got like the stick in the back and you're not trying to go down for that or whatever, you feel me? But I just be honest. So I remember I got pulled over. Have you been drinking tonight? I said, yeah, I was drinking tonight. He goes, how much? And I told him, I looked him dead in the face, and I was like, mind you, I'm like, damn, you're still drunk when he's talking to me. I'm like, probably like a pint of Hennessy like an hour ago. And then he says what he says. He goes like, okay, 1 second. Goes back, does whatever he does, that cop shit, you know, runs my shit.
Right.
Comes back to the window, hands me the license. He goes, all right, get out of here.
Bro, like,
and I just dip. I just leave. And me and my boys are like I'm driving, and I'm just like, yup, you feel me? Like, I'm just juiced that I got off. And then my boy and my boys in the car, they're like, damn, bro. Like, that's many.
Yeah, that's not.
Like, if that was one of my boys, because one of my boys in the car, you feel me? He's black. Right. My other boy's Filipino. If they was driving,
yeah,
I don't know if that would have went the same, bro. So, like, just like saying, like, same situation. You driving, I'm driving.
Yeah.
That's, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, like, and like I said, like, I definitely agree with you. It's not like because you can even bring in the whole Capitol riot thing. Like,
oh yeah, definitely.
Obviously, like, I didn't, like, it's unfortunate that some people lost their lives, absolutely. So don't like take it like I'm saying like more people should have went. But if that was, we've discussed it, and everybody has said it. Like, if that was a Black Lives Matter protest, it would have been a massacre.
Oh, that's for fact. Right. That's a fact.
There's been other Black Lives Matter protests that haven't been on that level.
That's why
people are getting beat up, all that.
That's why, to me, Aaron, when somebody says, "Oh yeah, you can be racist towards a white person," I'm like, yeah, no, because it's like you see the discrepancy of how these races are treated. And we're talking about black and white right now because they think that's what's going on.
Yeah.
But shout out to all the minorities.
Yeah, all minority groups. Like, if you're a minority, you've probably experienced something for sure.
Because I actually have a lot of like my friend group is really diverse. And like I hear this a lot of times where some other, and I don't want to speak for other races, but I've heard other races that aren't black. Right. Sometimes they get not upset, but sometimes they get frustrated where they're like, why is it always black? Why is it always black? You know, why can't because there's other minorities that go through a lot, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I just want to put that out there. This is all minorities. You know, we understand that it's a bigger thing.
Yeah, it's just the fact that I'm black, so I can't change it. I'm sorry. I just be talking about
facts.
My experiences and my people, I guess.
Same with, like I said, same with me. Like I understand like my white privilege. Like I've experienced that. But yeah, I just think that like there's just such a gap between how these different races are treated. Yeah. So it's like when you say that you can be racist towards a white person, I'm like, I'd say the opposite. I
mean, yeah, but a lot of it like
that's why I think that I would just love to see it. Like let me and I'm gonna.
I mean, I would hope nobody got like I don't care if you white, black, whatever. I would hope nobody gets.
That's facts. I misspoke.
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
That sounded bad.
Like my thing is like just because like and I think a lot of people are kind of like they have like and I get it, but like have like an actual hate for like white people. And me personally, I can't really get on that level because it's just I mean my whole like faith and beliefs, like I just can't really hate nobody just because like I don't think an eye for an eye is like that makes things right. Like I don't think because essentially like if you get to that level of hate, then you're no better than the oppressor because they like.
I respect that. Yeah, that's one of the things I for sure respect about you is that like you're not gonna go anywhere with that mentality. But there are people out there like that,
and I definitely understand like how like why like because like when I got pulled over and like that shit like happened to me, I was like man.
It's and I'd imagine that like it's easy to have that hatred. I would say like me, like I've never had that really hatred. Yeah. But like, cause like I said, I just never experienced it. Right. But like I'm sure it's like I really feel for minorities when they just have that anger and that hatred. I feel like because it's like man, what do you expect, bro? They're literally being oppressed. Yeah. And it's like so for you to even just be like, no, like I'm just trying to take the higher road. I respect that.
I mean, just in general, like a lot of people hate or strongly dislike people for like little stuff. So like if something like that's going on, like I definitely understand, like for sure.
For sure. Well, hey, that was basically what we wanted to get into. What do you guys think? We want to hear what you guys have to say. Do you agree with Raven? Do you agree with Aaron? Like, are somewhere in the middle?
I mean, depending on who our listeners are, it's gonna go either super you or super me.
Yeah, and I think it's really cool though that you know, as much as like I was like, you know, like on your ass about it, like nah, bro, you know, like I think it's actually really cool that you believe that and said what you had to say, because I think that's and especially like you being black and saying that, and then me being white and saying what I said. I think that's also like an interesting aspect to it, right? You know, because you expect a white person to say, man. Sometimes people be racist towards me. Like, what about me? What about me? You know, and then it doesn't
really, like I said, I'm gonna keep like it doesn't happen.
And then you get black people that are like, no, it's impossible to be racist towards a white person. Like you get both sides. So for me to say that, and then for you to say yours, I think that's pretty cool.
I just think it's like if you think like that, and like I said, like I would love for somebody to come on like with you and have the same view as you and like change my mind because like I have like flipped like back and forth. But like essentially you're saying. That whole like word or definition can't apply to you because they like somebody else did it first. Somebody did it to you for so long, like it doesn't apply to you. Like you can't do that to them. And to me, that kind of logic is pretty lazy.
I don't know. I'll just say this. Just repeat it again. It's. I know you say the definition. By the definition, you can be right, but that's fine. I mean, okay. If and like I said, I still don't know if I agree with it, but you're saying by definition, yes, you can be racist towards a white person. What I'm saying is that it's all about the power. Yeah, it's backed with power. Like a I know we're talking in circles now, but even just like my sister brought up a good point. Like my little nephew, her son,
Right.
if he does something to, my sister or his dad, even if he does it on like a discriminatory level, I know he's like a little kid, but for whatever, if he does, he can do that. And then like my sister would be like, damn, that hurt my feelings. Like that's crazy. Like he got me. But then at the end of the day, like my sister has all the power. She's going to put his ass to bed when she wants to. So like you can say to that white person, no, you can't hoop with us because you're white. But they don't have any power behind that. Like, yeah, they have the power to say no, like, and not let him play. But like I'm talking about real power, systemic power, And I think that's where me and you differ, where I'm just like, if you want the W of the definition of, yeah, you can be racist, I guess. But I'm just saying, like, I'm saying no because to me, racism has to be backed by that systemic power, where it's like, I'm gonna get this, I'm gonna get this job over you. You told me the story the other day about the jobs with the names.
Yeah, I forgot what like site it was. Man, I definitely want to cite that source, but yeah, pretty much it was just so like one of them was like a white sounding name, the other was like a black sounding name or minority sounding name. And they sent applications into the same place, and I'll probably say 80% of the time, the white-sounding name got a call back, and the minority-sounding name didn't. So
same credentials?
Yeah, so if the white-sounding name went to Harvard, minority-sounding name, they went to Harvard too. If they had a 4.0, other side out of 4.0, it was the same exact thing. They just changed the names.
It's crazy.
Yeah, so.
It's crazy. And I brought this up the other day. I think, like, we talk about, our podcast, like not wanting to be misunderstood or just not wanting to be judged off of, all right, just this. I think it's funny. I said how it's like, your name's Aaron, my name's Raven. Like a lot of times, like when people hear my name, like when I go to interviews and I show up, the first thing out of their mouth is, oh, you weren't what I was expecting. They see me, they see Ray. If they don't hear my voice, they don't think of a white man. They don't think of a little white boy. You know what I'm saying? And then Aaron, I would say Aaron's just kind of it could be both, right?
Yeah.
But you see Raven, like I don't know. Like a lot of times I just think that people they don't expect a white boy, Shout out my grandpa. I got my name from my grandpa, you feel me? Nobody called him that, but you feel me? That's where I get Raven from.
Like I think you're definitely right. Like it's definitely I think like I agree with you. Like, for sure. Like, I don't really disagree. The only thing I really disagree is, like, obviously the point of, like, it can happen to whoever. But, yeah, no, like, we definitely should make a poll and kind of see where, people are at and, like, kind of their views on that. And, like we said before, definitely, it's probably going to be a part 2 to this because there's so much more we can get into.
Maybe guests on.
Yeah, for sure. I want to have a guest for the part 2. And whatever view they share, if it's yours, mine, or whatever, just kind of get us thinking different and hopefully teach us something else that we never really even thought of. But
yep, for sure. Well, that was a dope conversation. Thank you guys for listening. Like I said, you can catch us on IG, Dumbest in the Room Pod.
Twitter coming soon for sure.
We're going to be trying to drop episodes probably once a week.
Yeah, once a week. Not too. Are we sure on the day? Like we don't really know.
No, not yet. I mean, probably sometime during the like around the weekend. Yeah. If not Monday. Yeah. If not the weekend, maybe Monday.
Yeah. We'll definitely, because when we make the Twitter, something we got to do, or IG, whatever, we'll post the day it's going to drop, and then we'll post it on that day. So, hope you guys really enjoyed this. Kind of what you can expect. Great conversation. Even though this is one of my, like, very good and best friends, like, we disagree on a lot of stuff. So,
for sure.
We'd like to not only learn from each other, but have you guys on and whatever. Like you said, like if you want to get on, just DM us and we can go from there.
Yes, sir. So stay tuned. Thank you guys. You feel me? And that's it. This is the Dumbest in the Room podcast.